Hi, it's time for the third and final installment of the Dreamscape Tutorial 101. Now, if you remember, we've done these stars. We were making all those nice little stars, and then we made a nebula that would go over those stars. Well, today, in the final installment, we're going to make these planets. So open up your paint net and open up the piece that we were working on, or if you've done something else since then and you would like to use it instead, feel free, just call it up and we'll go ahead. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a layer, and you should be familiar with this now. And as you can see, you still have your background and your layer. Now what we want to do is go into Render and Clouds again. And we want to make them as puffy as we can possibly make them. I usually set it around there for the planets. You can go a little higher and it'll make it less thin or less thick. But right now I want to go with this. Okay, so now we have our clouds, and what this will do is will either give us a landscape for the planet, and we may have to go back in over it to add some more in the way of clouds, but we'll see. It's never always the same. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and choose a color for now. What do we want our planet to look like in the way of color? Well, let's go with green. Not so bright. There we go. So that it's going to be a very pleasant green world here. And then we want to click on the paint bucket and go down and change the color from this primary color to, say, a water color. Okay? Then you click on one of these, but you want to make sure you don't have it up high, so your tolerance level may slow down your computer. So just click on here, and as you click, hold the Shift key and then press your mouse button. And it will go through and it will pick out all those nice little areas just so that you can have some water on your planet. Okay, you can do this again if you'd like to. You can choose different areas. I think I'll go ahead and I will do it on this over here. And then I'll go over and put some, I don't know. Let's choose this particular color. Okay, so now we have all these larger areas of water, bodies of water, and what we do now is, and it's okay if you have all these little dark areas because those could be like islands or something of that kind. So what we want to do now is we'll go into Effects and we'll come down to Render, scroll all the way down to Shape 3D. Now when this comes on, it should automatically shape your image to a circle, which is a globe, like so. Now, as you notice, you may not have this set up, but I have it set up as my default, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. To go to this particular setting where I have a night side and the day side, and I also I want to point out a lot of things that's going on in this particular box. When you have this, you need to stretch it out as much as possible because there's an awful lot of things here that you need to play with a little bit. Now, in the case of getting your shadow, you need to first of all change the direction of which it of the light direction. And here you can have it go from, and as you watch, you'll see that it's changing. This is your ups and downs, your left and rights, and your roundabouts. And it also depends on where you want the light to be coming from, because of course all light is originating from somewhere, and if you don't show it on your picture, you need to at least indicate that there is light coming from some direction. That's what helps make your image of your planet look like it's a globe instead of just a big round circle. This one here turns it and makes it so that your shadow is more shadow, or your planet is more in the shadow of the night than it is in the day. And this is not what you, like I say, this is not going to be set up just for you. I mean, when you come on, it'll look more like this. Oh, let me see here. Let's go into settings, and we'll delete the default. And what it'll do is it should automatically go in the direction that you want that it originally is set up for you. This specular highlight, you need to turn that off, because what that does is it gives you a big old white splotch area here, and we don't want that. Now you'll notice that you have an ambient lighting of 15. You can just bring that down to 0, and it'll change all this to a very nice black night sky for that side of the planet. I'm going to change the position of the night sky so that it's very much more to the dark side than it is to the light side. And we're going to keep it this way. You can play with it, and if you don't like this particular setup, you can always change it by just doing these. Don't mess with this. This is your coloring. And to be honest, if you've got it the way you want it, when you go, before you even bring it into this part of the picture, you won't need to be messing with these. Your strength of light you can increase or decrease depending on your particular taste. I think that's fine at 200 at 2. And up here you have object rotation. What it does is it takes that circle, that globe that you have, and by turning these dials, it turns your planet. I want to point out this nice line here that you see. This is where the back of the picture of your, it's the back of your picture of your globe. It's where the one side of the map meets the other. And we don't want to see that, so we're just going to move that continuously around, and we can ignore it. This one, axis 2, shifts it a little bit. You can go either way, it doesn't matter. But you can decide on what you want. Because it's your world, and you can do with it as you see fit. You'll notice all these nice little white areas above that seem like it's floating above the ground. Well, those could be your clouds. No one knows but you. And here's you tipping it a little bit in the other direction. And you can, up here, you can change the size of the planet. You can also change the direction of which it's, take it out of the oval shape and make it into something otherwise, long or deep. This is where you would make cylinders and things like that. All this would be involved in that. But right now, if you want to, you can just mess with the size of the planet. You don't really need to change anything else, or else it wouldn't look like a planet anymore, would it? So I'm going to resize it, or reset the size. And what I'll do is I'm going to move that planet off to the side. Up here you have texture map. What you're now in, and when you start out, it's the full surface map. It takes the entire map that you have created and wraps it around so that it fits to the other side. If you were to use the half sphere map, it'd take and show you only half the map. And as you can see, this is all gone now. And it shows you the inside of your map. That black area there, you can't see all the edges of it, but it continues around like that. And if you were to turn it, you would see more of it. It's like the inside of a hollow shell. So we'll turn that back the way it was. You can also go half sphere repeat, and what it does is it takes the exact copy of this side of the map and puts it on this side of the map. So you have a mirrored effect going on. We don't want that. Plane effect, it stretches it and it doesn't really look good, in my opinion. And then plane map scalable, which is pretty much the same. So it's best just to stay in the full sphere when you're doing your planets. Okay, right here, you have a little crosshair. We're going to take once, and we're just going to, holding our mouse button down, we're going to move the planet off to the side. And you can put it anywhere on your picture that you want. I think I'm just going to put mine here. And then, once I'm done, if I like the way this is, I can go in and say set default. It'll ask me, do I want to? And that'll become my instant default from now on. Whenever I use this particular box function, it'll automatically come on in this position and in this setup. And then I click OK. And if you don't like it, you can go back and change it at any time you want. So now we have our first planet, but we're not quite done with it. We need to go in and soften the edges, and I'll show you why here. If you come in real close, you see all these jagged edges. Well, that shows up in your prints when you do your pictures. When you go to print them out, it looks very jagged. So we don't want that. What we want to do is go into Object, Feather, and click True. And what it will do is it'll go through there and it'll redo all the edges to this. See? Smooths it out. Click OK and you'll be done with it. Now you gotta be careful because sometimes when you use it at that such great of a strength, it has a tendency to leave little dots along the edge. And if that happens, just unclick it or go take a step back and adjust it so that it doesn't happen. So now we have our first planet, your first planet, and I hope you like it. If you don't, go ahead and redo it. But next we're going to add, because this planet looks so lonely by itself, we're going to add another layer. Now I don't want you to flatten these two just yet, because you may want to play around with it a little bit. Here, let's scroll back out. Okay, so we're going to make another planet. And we'll do it the same way. Oops, I forgot to change the color. Let's change it back to black. Always start with your black because black is easy to change in the way of color. If you want to, you can change it and make it a little rougher. Because not all planets are the same. This could be a moon, and that's what we'll make it. We're going to make it into a moon. And the moons usually are smaller than this, and they don't usually ride on top of it, of the planet. Sometimes they're most likely, depending on how big you make your moon, is pretty far away from the planet itself. So distances and size does matter. Okay, so we have our planet, or our moon's surface. But what we want to do is we're going to go in and we're going to play with the surface a little bit. First of all, we're going to adjust the darkness, or the brightness, make it a little darker, and we'll give it a little more sharp contrast. There we go. And then we want to go into Distort, Dense. Now what Distort Dense does is it causes you to have all these nice little effects of crater looking effects. And you can change the reflection to make it tighter. You can change the roughness of it. And I think sometimes you can also use this for your clouds or the effects on your nebula, which I've been doing quite a bit of. So once it's done, you'll have a nice craggy looking surface for your moon. Alright, so now what we do is we're going to choose a color. For moons, most of the time, moons are most likely just yellowish or bluish, sometimes red. We're going to go with a slightly yellowish moon.
And there we go. And once again, go into Render,
"3D Shape." Now it's going to go right over where you put it the last time, and that's okay. don't worry about it. It's on another level, and it's not really going to affect anything underneath it. But as you can see, it's gotten all these nice little craggly bits going on, and it's in the same setup as before of your other planet. Now what you can do is you can make that your large planet and go up to the top here, and or go to the second one and make that the smaller one. It doesn't matter, but what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and shrink this one down to about 100. And there you have it. It's small. Let's bring her up a bit. Okay. Now what you can do, let's go and put this on the other side here. And we're going to move the planet, or the moon, off to the side. There we go. There we go. And we can move it up if we want to. It doesn't matter. It's floating around that planet. I think that's fine right there. So now you have two planets, or a planet and a moon. And if you want to, you can go ahead and do it again. And I think I will. But I'll speed this up so that you don't have to wait through it. You've seen it already, and now I'm going to show you something else. Okay, in the interest of time, I've gone ahead and made another moon. And now, what I wanted to show you was that it is on a second layer, another layer. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to move this off to the side so we can show you just what it is I'm talking about. We're going to make this layer we're going to move this little world right here, and we're going to take this and we're going to highlight the area, and then we're going to come up into the move select pixel, and we're going to move it over here. You can do this way too. Now as you can see, it's in front of the large planet, and you can put it there anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. You can even put it above here if you have it in, if it's still above that, if that's what you want. But I wanted to also show you what layers can do by moving this little arrow key. Every time you click it, it goes down. That layer that you're on goes down one layer. So in essence, you're just switching its position. And now we're going to put it behind the planet. There we go. Now you can hide it. You can still touch it because you're still on that layer. It's just moved up. And you can put it anywhere behind that planet that you want to. It doesn't look very good though. So what we want to do, if we were to put it there, is take this and holding the control key, the shift key, so that it doesn't look like doesn't lose its shape. We can put it we can make it look smaller and put it further back here behind the planet. Now it kind of looks odd there, and I've known some people who would make comment about that. So what we don't want to do, we're just going to go ahead and bring it forward so that it is above the planet. And we'll go ahead, and we like it to be that small. We want it to be a distant little thing. And we'll just move it around someplace. Maybe down here. If you put it way down here, it'll look like it's on the other side of the planet, but really far away. And if you wanted to give it to some size references, you can put it here, or you can put it here, or you can just take it back and put it way up here. But you want to make it show, you want it to be seen. Now what we can do here is we can go back up to the other layer that has this one, and we take this Oops, I'm sorry. We want to move it with the white arrow key so that it doesn't drag anything with it. And then we'll go back to the blue key and we can move this over here and it would be proportionate. One little planet way off to the back and one planet here, both of them circling that big planet. And of course, if you want to, now that you've got your planets, you need some sort of, well, in this one it doesn't matter. I would say that your picture this is the end of the tutorial. What I would like to show you is about space is that no matter what position it's in, there's never up or down. So what we can check it to see if we like it this way, or if we like it this way. I kind of like it that way. I'm going to go ahead and flatten everything. And of course, I'll save it. And like I say, and then I'll save it. And what's so good about, like I say, you can when I do something like this and there's no indication as to an up or down, I leave it up to the people who purchase the piece, because then if you show them, they can hang it any way they want to their general pleasure as to how they think it should look. And it's just great because there's no up or down in space. And there you have your final tutorial for Dreamscapes 101, how to make a space piece, space art. Thanks for watching, and maybe sometime down the road I'll make another one to either expand upon what you're seeing here or to give you some new information on how to do something else. Thank you, and God bless you.